Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Office Hours with Jess. Today, I'm going to tell you all the top things I wish I knew before starting my PhD program at Harvard. So I would say that these things fall into three broad categories, and I'll start with the first one, which is stuff specific to my PhD program. So the first thing is that I did not know how much statistical knowledge or just statistical emphasis there was in getting a PhD, even though I was getting a PhD in public health and not statistics or biostatistics. We started the summer before the program with a heap of homework, but we had to take this online course. There were all these quizzes. And I was like not doing well on these quizzes, and it was stressing me out so much. I was worried that people were going to see that I was failing these stats quizzes, and I hadn't even gotten to the program yet, or like started the program yet, and it was going to have consequences for me. And then I basically learned, I was like, well, no one's really looking at you under a microscope in this program, and you really don't need to scrutinize every point and every grade. So kind of on this related note, another important thing that I wish I had known about all of this, like statistics and homework and et cetera, is that it's okay to not get a perfect score. It's okay to not necessarily get the best grades on these things. And that extends to when you're actually in the classroom and taking exams as well. Once you get to the PhD, your grades really don't matter. They really don't. And that's something I wish I had known before going through the misery of all of that summer stats homework. Second thing, program specific, is the relationship that you have with your advisor. So I was really lucky. I did have a really wonderful advisor during my PhD program. And I would really recommend meeting frequently and sort of like early with your advisor. I think there can be a tendency to have like less meetings with your advisor at first because they want you to really focus on the coursework and less on the research, and really like kind of like make sure you're transitioning well and not getting overwhelmed. But for me, someone who liked to hit the ground running, that was really hard for me, and I wish I had known that there was going to be a little bit of pushback when I would say like, okay, yes, I'm just started, but I want to get more involved in your research projects. So being able to just set more clear goals and being more vocal about kind of what your needs are, what you want to get out, even at the very beginning and very start of the PhD program with your advisor, is really important. I wish I had done that a little bit more. Eventually, we did end up collaborating on many research projects together, but it just did take a little bit more time than I maybe would have wanted it to. So that's kind of the program specific stuff. Now on to Boston specific things about the city itself. Now this will come to no surprise for you all, but I, coming from New Haven, having just gotten my master's at Yale, I thought that I was like, okay, I have all the clothes that I need. I can just, go up to Boston. It'll be pretty similar. But Boston's actually colder than New Haven because it's more north, and I didn't buy a new winter coat, and I didn't know that like the little down feathers or the synthetic down feathers like come out of your coat. So what worked for me in New Haven didn't work for me in Boston, and I didn't buy like new warmer clothes, and especially I probably really should have bought a nicer, heavier new coat. But I did it, and then with each year that went by in my PhD program, it became less and less worth it for me to buy another coat, so I kind of just had to make it work and really layer and just be that person who would wear like 3 coats and then take it all off and be ridiculous. So just be aware, it is very, very cold in Boston, and the winters last long, like basically from when you come back from winter break in January all the way until like late April, early May, it will be cold and you will need that coat. All right. Next thing about Boston that I, again, didn't realize. So coming from New Haven, a little small town in Connecticut. I was so excited to be back in a big city again where I could go out, do things. There's more happening. I was like, I'm done with, being in this like small town that like I have to drive 30 minutes to get to a Trader Joe's. But then I think when I actually got to Boston, I didn't realize how hard it would be to get around such a huge city. And I sort of missed that small town feel. But the transportation, or like the public transportation in Boston, is like really not great. The T, I eventually learned how to use the T, but the T is really inefficient. It like doesn't have a lot of direct routes, like same with the bus. So sometimes you're like, busing all around or taking the T around all of Boston before finally getting to your destination. Another thing I wasn't aware of is you never want to make plans or like try to take public transit home when the Red Sox are playing. That was a big mistake. I was like caught in the rain for 2 hours one day waiting for the bus because the Red Sox were playing and there was so much traffic and it was raining and pouring and I was just like miserably cold and wanted to go home. So you learn though. I eventually by the end figured out like which bus routes, which T routes worked for me for like the couple of places I needed to go. And Boston is very walkable for the couple like the nearby areas, but of course getting from one end of town to another can be a lot. So just keep that in mind. And then lastly, the social stuff. So I would definitely say that, the social events early on in the program are so important. And I would really encourage you all to like attend those. I didn't realize, again, how important those like, happy hours or like, fun grad school dances are, that happen that first week or even the week before classes start. Because that's where you get to like start meeting people before people are stressed with school and work and research. And it's really this like beautiful protected social time. And, I know it's cheesy and a cliche that people say, you meet your best friends in grad school, but I genuinely did meet my best friends. My maids of honor at my wedding were two people that I met at one of the very early happy hours that happened during orientation. So just know that, you will make your best friends in your grad program, and it's really a special time. And again, looking back, another thing I wish I knew is that time is going to be limited. And before you know it, you're going to be towards the end of your PhD program. Everyone's going to be kind of dispersing and going off to different parts of the US or different parts of the world, and you won't be together anymore. So really treasure the time that you get with your cohort, with your friends, and make the PhD experience fun as well as academic and research. So those are the top things I wish I knew before starting my PhD, and I hope that you all can take this information and start your PhD off strong and have fun as well. So thank you so much. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on another episode of Office Hours with Jess. Thank you.